Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you've never been here before, my name is Carrie Waltz and I share tips, tools, and techniques for the artist in you. Riley joined me today. Isn't that sweet? Oh, she's so sweet. Today's video is going to be a real-time watercolor journal entry that I did when I was in Myrtle Beach. I was sitting on the porch and balcony of a friend's condo and looking out over the Intercoastal Waterways. And I hope you enjoy it. I just sit with me, paint along with me if you want. I was using a limited palette, and I had to delete all the conversation around me and then do a voiceover. And you'll notice that I was talking very softly because I was doing it before anybody woke up. This is my view looking out the porch window in Myrtle Beach. I'm visiting a friend and I'm just sitting on the porch. We're all having coffee and casual conversation, so all the conversations deleted as I kind of tell you what's happening in my painting. I'm looking way off at the bridge way off in the distance. I don't want to put in any dark lines at this point, and I didn't start with pencil. I just started with paint, and I'm using very thin, pale paint, so if I put a line in the wrong direction or wrong place, then it's not too hard to redo. I want the distance colors to be cooler, so I came back with a little more bluish green color rather than the brown. And I'm just painting around where the bridge is. The bridge is going to stay the white of the paper. Even though it's not white, it just kind of blends in that way once it's done. So I'm trying to establish where the edge of the building will be, and then enough color in the background for it to read foliage, but not for it to be too powerful and come forward. Because if you want things to look like they're in the distance, you have to lighten the color, less intensity, softer edges. And right now I'm using a lot of water. It's flowing pretty well, and you see little puddles or what do you I can't even think this morning, sorry. Little puddles at the end. You can see that I've got enough wet there to create a bead. That's a bead. A bead's what I was trying to think of, sorry. And everybody is still relaxing, and probably some are sleeping in the condo this morning, so I'm just editing my video so I can get it out on time. I didn't say that I was working with a limited palette. It's the 3 primaries of Daniel Smith plus burnt sienna, and then I threw in a little bit of turquoise later on to capture the pool. You can see I'm getting darker and a little more detail with the trees up front, but I still don't want them to be too detailed. I didn't worry about any of the docks that are along the coastline. I left those out, and there seemed to be kind of a brownish tone of shade, and if you have burnt sienna and ultramarine blue, it makes a really good dark, and you can tone down the red of the burnt sienna by adding the ultramarine blue in it, and it makes a nice neutral. Putting just loose suggestions of the water, and then I came back with a pale yellow. Mine's yellow, more yellow than the buildings, but only had one yellow, and I had to tone it down a little bit, so I added a touch of blue and a touch of red, because blue and red make purple, and the opposite of yellow on the color wheel is purple, and that's how you tone it down a bit. So at least it's not as bright as out of my palette. I'm just trying to give a hint of the building. I don't want it to be too detailed, so I mixed up another neutral to do the roof, and didn't quite get the line exact. But you know, when you're painting on location, you're just trying to get the essence, the feel of the place, and I didn't start with pencil, so sometimes if I start with pencil, I get so detailed on getting everything right, and I just don't do
a free enough painting. So I'm really trying on this trip to not draw ahead of time and just to go for it with the paint. And if it's a little wonky, that's okay. It still captures where I am. So now that the background is dried a little bit, I can come in with the tops of the trees. I'm always starting, well, I try to always start with the lighter color that I see. I can come back and darken that later. And I shifted the photo so you could see the rooftop of the pool house. I could actually see the other side, and my photo didn't show that, but that's okay. When you're dealing with trees, I often like to start just with the foliage. If you'll notice, I'm painting the negative space around the dark of the pool house. It was really a darker, almost black, but I just didn't want to put it that dark. I wanted to just fill in with trees rather than other things. It's nice that you can edit when you're the artist. If you're getting anything good out of this, give me a thumbs up or subscribe if you haven't. I really have enjoyed doing these videos, and it's helped me. I've learned a lot. I hope you're learning, and I'm so excited. I have over 1,000 subscribers now, so thank you if you are one of those. Really do appreciate it. And if you haven't noticed, I am painting in my lap. I had a pair of crazy colored leggings on, and I realized, ooh, that is really distracting. I better put a towel over my lap. So you will be glad that you see the towel in my lap rather than my crazy painted or crazy designed leggings. I love them, but they're a little distracting for a film. So here's where I put in a little turquoise. Ultramarine blue just cannot get that color, and so sometimes you just have to add another color to your palette. I had 2 limited palettes, and one of them has some purple, magenta, turquoise, and another really bright yellow. So there's times when I just carry both of those limited palettes, and it just gives me a nice variety to pull from, because you can tell that the water in the pool is a much different blue than the blue in the background. Here I'm coming back just to indicate where windows are, just with a neutral. I'm not trying to be too exact. So again, it's just a suggestion. The ones in the further distance are probably even less detailed, but to me it's enough to get a feel for where you are. So don't get too frustrated about, oh, it's not exact. I mess this up. What am I going to do? I'm going to cover it up. Just keep going. Don't worry about it, and you'll get better. Some of mine, aren't as good as others. But when I can look back at a painting in my journal and I can go, man, I remember being there. It was so pretty sitting on that dock. This is the Intercoastal Waterway that I'm in front of, and every now and then there'll be a boat go through, and just all different kind of boats, sailboats, jet skis, paddle boats, and it's just so nice to sit there and enjoy the breeze and visit with friends, and whether it's a cup of coffee or a glass of wine, whatever time of day, it's just so nice to have a view different from what you have at home. When I'm working with the palm trees that are up close, I still again want to start with the lighter tone, and you don't see that burnt sienna color in the trees, but sometimes you just need to break up all the warmth with all the cool colors with a little warmth. And there is warm in the trees trunks. It's not that bright, but that's okay. I'm working with something up close, and it'll neutralize a little bit as I add all the other stuff. But that's why I added that burnt sienna down at the bottom, almost bright orange from your view. And try to do a little directional strokes with the watercolor, And again, the water in the pool area is dry, so I can go over it and it won't bleed into the pool. So I work around the painting from one place to another so that it, as I get from one place to another, then it's wet. It's not wet paper that I'm working on, unless I want it to blur. If you can see the little tiny corner of my palette, I'm working with from a baby Altoid tin. If I remember, I'll add a picture of it in the background. So after the tree trunks or the tree painting is dry, then I can add the tree trunks, and you can actually add the tree trunks when it's wet. It'll just blur up into the green. That spot that I just that spot that I just painted was a little dark, so I just went back and picked up a different color and blurred right in. And now adding mid trees further off in the distance, but not quite as close as the ones I just painted. So just go a few directional, don't worry about doing all the little details. And then I just drug the trunks off. It's really been fun to sit on the porch and paint while we're having nice conversation and getting to know each other even a little more. Reminiscing about the past is always fun too. But if you're by yourself, just enjoy it and don't worry about every detail. I didn't try to get any kind of the walkway, the chairs down at the pool area, just a hint that there's a building down there. The change of color of the water was enough to tell that it's a pool and not the water. I shifted the picture down below so you could kind of see the clouds. It was an overcast day, and that's really a lot bluer than the day was, but you know, that's artist prerogative. You can do whatever thing you want. I'm just laying in, skipping some of the white of the paper and blurring out for a soft edge to give it a feel that there are some clouds in the sky. And then whatever is in the sky is going to be reflected in the water, so I want to take some of that same color and drag just a little bit across. I could have tried to put a boat going down it, and that just needs to be another day. Don't try to put everything in one picture. So I'm taking a look at it, decided to come back, and you know, watercolors do lighten as they dry, so I wanted to re-emphasize that bridge in the distance, so I went around it with some watered down kind of a blue-green color. So sit back, evaluate it, see what you think. I think I'm through. I've got enough detail to know where I am, painting plein air off the balcony in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Hope you enjoyed it.